Hello everyone, my name is Erin and I have a disability called cerebral palsy. Spastic cerebral palsy to be exact. I use an electric wheelchair on a daily basis to get around because I can't walk. Anything that needs to be physically done for me as far as dressing me, driving me places, bathing me, I depend on other people to do. So those are just a few of my challenges, the challenges in my daily life. Even though I don't really consider them challenges because they are just a part of my daily life. Just as you would have to get up every day and go to work or school, I have to have someone help me with my care every day. However, with as many challenges as I have, I don't believe in letting my disability stop me or define what I'm gonna do or not do. I can do everything that you can do. It just needs to be adapted a little bit. I have a friend who I consider to be a little sister who also has a disability. She is not with us anymore, unfortunately, because her disability was degenerative. Cerebral palsy is not degenerative. But she used to have a quote that she always said that I really like. And that quote is, "My disability is part of who I am, but it does not define who I am." And I like that quote because I've never believed that my disabilities has defined me or the kinds of goals and dreams I have or my ability to live a happy life. I've always been happy, always had a great family, always had wonderful friends who believe in me and treat me just like another one of them. And this started very, very young. When I was little, I wanted to be in Girl Scouts just like every other girl does. And so my mom found a Brownie troop and that would accept me. Basically, we just had to find one that would accept another girl. And I was in with the same Brownie troop for 3 years. I had a wonderful leader, and became friends with the 15 or so girls that were in my Brownie troop, and many of us are still friends today. A lot of the activities were adapted to me, and when on the very rare occasion that my Brownie troop was doing something that I could not do, such as going to a water park or something of that nature, there was two activities, but not at the same time. One activity was an activity that we did as a troop that I could do, and the other activity was for just the girls who could do it, such as go to the water park and such. I never felt excluded from my troop when they did these activities. I always felt included because they always treated me like I was one of them. And on one occasion, we even earned a patch for learning about disabilities, and I was able to bring my wheelchairs and my equipment into our Brownie troop meeting and let the girls use it on my manual wheelchairs, and let the girls use it and roll around in my wheelchair so that they could see what it was like for me to be in a wheelchair. That was just one of the things we did for us to learn about disabilities, and I was able to kind of talk to the girls, and they were able to ask me questions, sort of like what I'm doing now. At the end at the end of my 3 years in Brownies, I was nominated and won Brownie Girl Scout of the Year for the whole county. Come to find out later on that I was the first disabled Brownie in my whole county or my whole area. And I was in the paper and everything else. And so that was an honor, not only for me to find out that I had won Brownie of the Year, but also to find out that I was the first disabled brownie in my area. And later on, some of my disabled friends followed me into Brownies or Girl Scouts because they saw me doing it and they wanted to do it. So that was just the first big event in my life that shows that I do not let my disability stop me. The second example that I have for you is that I used to go around to, for my school, I used to go around to certain classes. In this week we used to have called Disability Week and talk to some of the other younger students, older students, students of the same age when I was in elementary school, and talk to them and kind of have a question and answer session and try to get them to be more accepting of people with disabilities and try to see people with disabilities as they would any of their friends. Because I think that if you start to teach children from a very young age to be accepting, they're more likely to be more accepting than adults sometimes. Not to say that adults aren't accepting, but children are just more accepting sometimes. So that was another thing that I did. I think when you have a disability, it's all about the environment that you're in. And as far as my life, I was always raised by my parents to believe that I could do anything that I wanted to do, and nothing should ever stop me. My friends that I have, and I do have friends. I'm not the most popular person in the world, but I do have a good social life and some very close friends. My friends always looked at me like there was no differences. And I think that if people look at you that way, it really helps you to realize that you can do anything you want to do, and you really don't have any differences from them. So it's all about, if you have a disability, it's all about the people around you and how they choose to treat you. So, in saying that, I would really urge you that if you come across someone with a disability, or you know someone with a disability, to just treat them as you would any other person. I personally don't mind answering questions. I would actually prefer that people come up to me asking questions rather than just stare at me, because in my opinion, people with disabilities are put on this earth to educate people how to be more compassionate, to educate people about their individual disabilities, or just to teach people to be more tolerant of others. I don't know if you already know anything about me, but I am a college graduate. I have a bachelor's degree in child development and psychology. I did go to online school because at the time it was easier for me to go to school online rather than go to campus. I went to 3.5 years of school and graduated with a 3.25 GPA. So it's not straight A's, but it's not bad. And I did get on a roll one of the ways I had to adapt to going to school is that I had to get voice recognition software so that I could talk to my computer and it would type for me. Because I do type because I do have use in my hands. Well, I have use full use of my right hand, and my left hand kind of has a mind of its own. So when I type, I kind of type a little bit slow. So when I entered college, I got speech recognition, voice recognition software. Excuse me. And that really helped me get through school. Another way is that getting books on tape or having someone like my mom read books on tape for me. This is because my eyes are very spastic, meaning they jump, which you probably noticed because, I'm sure in this video you're gonna see times when I look away from the camera or my head moves for a second. It's not anything conscious that I do. It's being spastic. Actually, my whole body is spastic. So, they're just spasms or just jerky movements that you can't really control when you have CP. So, and this also happens when I'm reading, so my eyes jump, so it sometimes is very difficult for me to concentrate on the page that I'm reading, or not to read the same sentence over and over again, because when my eyes jump, it gets frustrating sometimes. You have to figure out your place or figure out where you were. So what my mom used to do is she used to take my books and read them on tape, or I had a digital tape recorder, and she'd read them, the content, the chapters, whatever we had to read for that week, on tape for me so that I could just listen to it later. So that's another way that I've adjusted to my disability. So basically, my whole message there is people with disability may need to adjust or adapt things so that they can do same things that you can do. But adapting is okay. I mean, everybody has challenges in life. Everybody adapts. Even you as quote unquote normal people are gonna have to adapt your life in some ways. So adapting doesn't mean that you can't be happy. It just means that you do things a little bit differently than everybody else. When you see a disabled person, try not to see the wheelchair or the crutches. See them as a typical happy person who has dreams and goals and strives to be the best person they can be. Because even though it's a misconception that people with disabilities hate their lives or they want a different life, if someone with a disability does feel that way, it's because of the way they've been treated. I think that if you're made to feel sorry for yourself and the people around you feel sorry for you, then you will. Or if you're treated like you have a disability, then you will feel like you have a disability and you have challenges that you can't overcome. But if you're treated as though you have challenges in your life, yes, but you can definitely overcome them, you will overcome them. If you have an environment where you are happy, you will be happy regardless of your disability. Again, your disability is part of who you are and part of your daily life, but it doesn't necessarily define you unless you let it. You sit around and go, oh, I'm feeling sorry for myself, and I want everyone to do everything for me. If you honestly really try to do things for yourself and don't, ask for help when you need it, of course, but if you try to do things for yourself and don't let your disability define you, it won't. It's an individual choice whether you let your disability define you or not. And I have chosen not to let my disability define me, and that's just a few of the ways that I've chosen to overcome my disability and live a happy life with the disability instead of letting my disability run my life. So thank you for listening. Hopefully this video was helpful and it opened your eyes and at least gave you a new perspective to ask people with disabilities questions and get informed. Do not be afraid to ask somebody with a disability a question or two. If they're like me, they don't mind answering. Most of us don't mind answering. We just want to educate people and help them understand a little bit more about our culture. Thank you.